combat team, now located at Fort Benning, Georgia.
Wonder where Jane's located.
Yes, sir, you may return to security, good pay, interesting work, and the opportunity for fast advancement right with your old outfit. And for you other veterans who meet today's high standards for enlistment, there's also a chance for you in the 7th RCT, if you act fast and enlist under the limited quota system for that unit. Remember, too, that if you're a veteran with a needed technical skill, you may qualify for enlistment in grade, depending on your training and length of service.
How do you like this stove here?
Any way any veteran looks at it, it's worth looking into the many opportunities offered by your regular Army. Your nearest recruiting office will help you make your choice.
Well, who'll help you make this farina? The next morning, I was having breakfast at my club.
Club breakfast, number 2, 8 over.
But Jane was serving a sumptuous repast out on Long Island. The way she explained it to me later, the first one down for breakfast was the master of the house. And what happened between him and Jane was really one for the book. A book that would have been banned in Boston. It went something like this.
Good morning, my dear.
Just fine.
How does our new little maid like her job?
Good morning. Oh, I see you finished your orange juice. I didn't hear you. What can I give you now, Mr. Dale?
A little attention, my dear.
What?
My, what a pretty little hand.
Oh, I bet you say that to all the hired hands. Would you like some eggs, Mr. Dale?
Oh, come now, Janie. Let's not be so formal.
Oh, please, may I have my hand? Do you like your eggs scrambled, Mr. Dale?
I like our maids to call me Daddy. This job could be a very pleasant one, Janie. If you know what I mean, my dear.
Oh, that hurts. Do you like your eggs fried?
What color are your eyes, Janie?
Soft-boiled?
Oh, we're going to get along fine, aren't we? And you're going to call me Daddy, aren't you?
But please, Mr. Dale, after all, your wife is a married woman. And I think I hear her coming downstairs now.
Oh, yes. Well, I've got to get to my office. Not a word about this, my dear. Just leave everything to Daddy. Not a word now.
I know. Dumb's the word.
That's it, my dear.
Tom, haven't you gone yet?
Just leaving, my dear. Have a nice day, my dear. Oh, yes. I'll see you at dinner.
Good morning, Jane.
Good morning, Mommy. Mrs. Dale. I was just taking my hand out to the kitchen. I was just...
Now, don't bother about me, my dear. I just have this glass of orange juice. My figure, you know.
Yes, isn't it?
Jane, come over here a moment.
I was just over there.
Now, about lunch today, Jane, I'm expecting, you see, about 2 or 3 days a week, I have lunch with a friend, a charming gentleman from South America. He's teaching me the language. Oh, it's such a romantic language.
Oh, oui.
Hey, we're taking up irregular verbs.
Oh, my.
And, well, it isn't that Mr. Dale would object. It's just that I'd rather, you understand, don't you, Jane?
You mean you want it to be strictly Aunt Renew and me?
Yes, strictly Aunt. Yes, strictly, my dear.
I get it. Dumb's the word again.
And so Jane was sworn in as a member of the Long Island Secret Service. Of course, of all the homes on Long Island, Jane had to get into the home of a couple of great neckers. But I had my own problems. First, I had to change the dinner date with the client from Friday to Thursday because my wife's day off was Thursday. Luckily, TJ said that would be okay. Then I called the employment agency and arranged for a maid for Thursday. Now all I had to do was get Jane on the phone. Not knowing where she was working, I was sitting in my office contemplating calling the whole Long Island phone book from A to Zabisco when the phone rang. Hello?
Hello, dear.
Oh, Jane, I was just thinking about you.
Just fine.
Jane, where are you? Are you back home?
No, I'm still mating.
Mating?
Do you miss me, dear?
Jane, look, I've changed the dinner date with my soap client to Thursday night because you can't make it Friday. This is the biggest deal I've ever tackled.
Oh, biggest deal. Is that all this means to you? You don't say a word about missing me.
All right, Jane, I miss you.
And can't get along without me?
All right, I can't get along without you.
And go ahead.
And what?
Go ahead. Say everything that's in your heart.
Left ventricle, right ventricle, left or right.
That's better. Oh, well, I've got to hang up now, dear. I've got to hurry back to maiding. I hear the call.
Well, I've got half a mind to skip the dinner scene. It was gruesome. But I went through it, and so can you. It won't hurt too much. You'll only age 3 or 4 years. Here's the setup. It's 5 minutes before our guests are due to arrive. The maid I hired is in the kitchen, and I'm briefing Jane in the living room. Now, look, Jane, when TJ gets here, we sit around for a few minutes and chat before dinner. And don't forget the name of his soap. Did soap.
I know the soap. That's all they use at Mr. and Mrs. Dale's where I work.
Yes, and be sure not to mention what was that? You didn't say Dale.
Yes, Mr. and Mrs. Dale. They've got more soap around
well, wait
the
just
house.
a minute. Which Dale?
Thomas Jefferson Dale.
TJ, you were, you mean?
Is your collar too tight, dear?
Jane, tell me quick, you worked for Thomas Jefferson Dale?
Yes. Do you know it?
That's my client. That's TJ. That's the man who's coming here tonight with his wife.
Well, of all well, dear, you can knock me down with a fender.
Don't tempt me. What do I do now? There goes my whole account.
Mrs. Bates, what time do you want me to start serving dinner? I want to be out of here by 9 o'clock. I hope this ain't one of them all-night affairs.
Just a minute, Helen. We're having a predicament.
A what?
Mr. Ace and I just found out we have some common friends.
Wait just a minute. Time is running out. Helen.
Yeah?
Look, Helen, I haven't time to explain now, but you've got to do me a big favor. Jane, I want you to take Helen's place in the kitchen. You be the maid. Helen, you've got to be my wife.
Now, just a minute.
Wait a minute now. There's an extra $5 in it for you. $5, please. You have to do this. Jane, take her apron. What are you standing there for?
Oh, I'm trying to figure it out. You want me to be the maid?
Yes, and you say you took a job here for one night on your night off. Helen, all you have to do is sit around and act as if you're Mrs. Ace.
Oh, I get it now. Well, that's pretty clever, dear. Do you think it'll work?
If it doesn't, I won't. Take your apron.
Give me your apron, Helen.
Okay, here, but everything's happening too fast for me.
Too fast. All you have to do is act like the lady of the house, like my wife. You can do that, can't you?
Like your wife? Sure. Straighten your tie. Stop biting your nails. Be careful of those
Okay. Don't overdo it. Now, Jane, get out to the kitchen.
Okay, dear. I hope they don't know me when I come out. I'll try to disguise my voice. Good luck, dear.
Good luck, she says. I'll have to throw a 7 the hard way. Oh, the door. I'll get it, Helen. Are you okay?
I don't know what hit me, but I'll do the best I can.
Okay. Well, here goes nothing. Well, good evening, TJ.
Good evening, Mr. Ace.
Come in. And Mrs. Dale, how do you do? I'm Mr. Ace.
Good evening.
Go right in. Mrs. Ace is waiting. Darling.
Yeah?
Darling, this is Mrs. Dale.
Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Ace?
Howdy.
And Mr. Dale.
Good evening, Mrs. Ace.
How you do? I'll take your things, folks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sit down, folks. Shall we have a little drink before dinner?
Thank you. That will be fine. Nice little place you have here.
Well,
Mr.
thank
Ace.
you very much. Sit down, won't
Yes,
you?
thank you.
Mrs. Dale over here and TJ.
A lovely little apartment, isn't it, Martha?
Oh,
thank you.
charming.
So bright and shiny. I suppose you use plenty of Did soap around here.
Oh, sure. Did soap. Only did.
I used to.
What's that?
Darling, you mean did, of course.
I used to did, now I used to.
Mr. Ace, is this your idea of a joke?
I assure you it isn't. Darling, please, you used did.
I ought to know what kind of soap I use. I use enough of it. Do does what Did used to do, but doesn't anymore.
Mr. Ace, I bid you good evening.
No,
My
not
hat and coat, please.
No, just a minute,
Mr.
please.
Ace, you are quite obviously not the man for my account. Come, Martha.
Oh,
I was never
no.
so insulted in all my life. Right with you,
Just a
Tom.
minute, please. I can explain this whole thing. Listen. This woman is not my wife.
What?
What?
I mean, look. No, my wife is in the kitchen, and you're going to be surprised when I tell you why. My wife is your maid.
What did he say?
Yes, your maid. She took a job with you. She didn't know who you were. I just found out this evening. A minute ago. I was trying to cover it up. Honestly, it's the truth. I'll prove it to you. Jane.
Jane? Well, that's our new maid's name.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Jane. Oh, here she is. Jane.
Yeah, the boss. Somebody called for Jane.
Jane, please. They know about it. This is my wife. Aren't you, Jane?
I had a day off, so I took a job here for one night.
No. It's all over. It's all over. They know about it.
Jane, are you married to this man?
Yes, I am, Mrs. Dale.
Tom, this man is evidently emotionally unstable. 2 wives, both maids.
Oh, no.
Good night, Mr. Ace, and goodbye.
But, Mr. Dale, please.
Good night, Jane, and you needn't come back to your job, of course.
Good night, Mrs. Ace.
Good night, Daddy.
What was that? What did she say?
Oh, well.
Daddy knows what I said.
Martha, my dear, maybe we've been a little hasty.
Thomas Jefferson Dale, if you give this man your account, I'll leave you.
Oh, but my dear.
Going to South America, Mrs. Dale?
What's this?
Well, I mean, Tom, perhaps you're right. Perhaps we have been a little hasty.
Just what I was thinking.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Ace, how about those drinks we were going to have?
Drinks? Oh, sure. What's going on? Helen, bring in the dead martinis. I mean the dry martinis. And so it comes to pass that a man's wife could be a big help to him in his business. Of course, my wife has to go by way of Omaha, but she gets there. And I was appreciative. The day after we got the account, I offered her a reward.
Oh, I don't want anything, dear. I think every wife should help her husband all he can, whenever she needs something.
I won't even try to figure that out, but I want to get you something, Jane. What do you want?
Well, if you insist, how about some hose? Get me a dozen pair of hose.
A what?
A dozen pair of hose.
You mean a dozen pair of hose?
Dear, I saved the soap account for you once. Please watch your language.
Oh, yes, Jane, I'm sorry.
In just a moment, I'll give you the title of Chapter 4 of the story of Mr. Ace and Jane. Remember this, young men. There is no finer career than an Army or an Air Force career. It offers you a continuing education, the chance to learn a valuable technical skill, the opportunity to see the world, which is a broad education in itself. Now, let's look at the practical side, too. Army and Air Force pay, with its extra benefits and allowances, is better than average civilian pay. On top of that, there's retirement pay that leaves you sitting pretty all your life. Drop in at the United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station nearest you and get the rest of this important story. You'll be mighty glad you did. Next week, Mr. Ace and Jane will bring you Chapter 4, entitled Jane Discovers Hidden Talent in a Newsboy, and Mr. Ace has a client interested in putting on a radio program, so Jane puts 2 and 2 together, gets a whooper of 4.6, and before Mr. Ace can stop her, Jane has a discovery on the air. Or, as Mr. Ace puts it,
to err is human, to forgive divine. Good night.
Me too. Goodman Ace. Original music conducted by Morris Certain. In the supporting cast tonight were John Griggs as Mr. Dale, Evelyn Barton as Mrs. Dale, Bert Kelton as Helen, Cliff Hall as Mr. Bennett, Eric Dresper as Mr. Norris, and this is Ken Roberts announcing that you may hear Chapter 4 of Mr. Ace and Jane next week at this time over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. This is WCBS, New York.
Did you enjoy hearing Mr. Ace and Jane? You'll enjoy seeing them, too.